Hello everybody and welcome back to 10 Minute Reviews. I'm Jason bringing you today's episode. I was hoping to have the fuzzy one here, but she's apparently decided to run and hide, but maybe she'll put in an appearance for us. So, as always, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. I don't want to forget to mention that. We would really appreciate the support, just a small little family channel. And here's the fuzzy one, my fuzzy co-star. And today I want to talk about book 3 on a series that I have already talked about a couple of times, twice. I want to talk about Saving Supervillains 3. And I'm going to skip the 4 usual categories that I talk about because I've already talked about it. I've already talked about it twice, actually, so I'm going to skip that. Instead, I want to talk more in terms of, I'll talk about the story, then we'll talk about what I think is great, what I think is good, and what I wasn't such a huge fan of. Overall, of course, I love this series. It's absolutely fantastic. This is a great series. So, as far as the plot goes, we are once again following our intrepid hero, Miles Mathers, who, as we have already found out, is far older than he appears. He's used his abilities to make himself younger, to extend his lifespan, while also changing his appearance just enough to match with his name change and his fake identity and fake age, because he is a Titan level superhero. He's one of the most powerful, incredibly powerful for a male. This is a society where the male birth rate has dropped precipitously to where they're worried about society itself just kind of fading out because of just the lack of men and low birth rate of males. And they're hoping that maybe he can help change that. The super scientist geek, of course. And Miles is still leading his team of supervillains that he has turned into superheroes using his abilities while still trying to hide himself. He still has not come out as Void to the general public, and because he has this stigma attached to him, because as Void he killed what at the time was believed to be the greatest superhero around, an absolute legend. Now, the facts actually turn out to be that he actually saved everybody by killing, I think his name was Paragon, by killing him because he'd actually gone bad and was murdering people. But that was not the narrative that was put out there by the heroes at the time, who happened to be his boss now. So, he's still leading his team. And a lot of this is slice of life. Most of this is slice of life. There is an overarching plot, but it is pretty mild. This is almost more leading up to book 4, is kind of what it feels like. He's got these new trainees that have come into play, and he's added a couple of them to his team so they can learn, so they can train. But mostly he is trying to figure out a way to go after this incredibly powerful, this Titan level superhero, the super that he thought he had killed, and somehow she managed to survive, that has this city of her own out away from the city that they currently reside in, because everything in between the cities is a wasteland, a super-powered wasteland, very post-apocalyptic, super-powered post-apocalyptic, very interesting. While at the same time his boss is as revealed in this book, is convinced that he is Void. She has figured him out and is trying to entrap him in a way, while the military is trying to take over, and they want one of his supers to break bad and attempt to infiltrate this supervillain city that has popped up, that has sprung up. So that is most of the overarching plot of the book. This is more almost like, there's almost bridging between book 2, where he himself kills a Titan and then fights this Titan level supervillain, and what you can tell is going to be book 4, where they actually visit the city that this supervillain is at. And so most of this is kind of slice of life as he develops his team, as he eventually reveals himself to his boss, as one of his girlfriends and team members pretends to go bad, and he actually comes back as a villain, as Void, to help, I guess, establish your bona fides, you could say. Now, let's talk about the great, the good, and what I wasn't a huge fan of. So, the great, just the overall story. The overall story, it's an absolute blast, and I really like the powers. Now, of course, there's a lot of the standard stuff: flight, super strength, yada yada yada. You know, shoot laser beams, stuff like that. But then there's also some very interesting and weird and subtle powers, like when the one that can clone themselves. You know, this isn't like a multiple man scenario. There's a lot of twists involved with the power that makes it fairly unique. Then you've got the one that's not a villain or a hero, more of a middle office manager, middle manager that is that can influence people simply with their voice and with pheromones. I like these little twists to the powers, and I like Miles's power. I like the overpowered main character for this particular style of book. The overpowered main character could be a little boring at times, but in this particular case, it really, really fits, and especially because of how much he holds himself back, which we'll get into a little bit later. The parts that I just thought were good, honestly, the new superheroes, I just thought they were eh, and I'm also just eh as far as his former mentor that has come back, Emma, I believe it is, that has come back and that he has managed to bring onto his team as another former supervillain that he is trying to help. And some of the rest of his team are just a little too over the top, a little too childish with how they act. But so I'm not a huge fan of them. In fact, I can't say that I'm honestly a fan of anybody that is current girlfriends, except for the cloner. The clone one that is one of the most broken, twisted, and messed up ones, and the psychiatrist character. Those two I am definitely huge fans of. The rest of them are kind of eh. You know, and his boss, I'm not sure yet. I like most of the time when she shows up. Sometimes I'm just kind of eh. But for the most part, I really like it. As far as the things I'm not just a huge, all that much of a fan of, you know, I go right back to his harem. His harem and his superhero team and his girlfriends. They're just so... It's like they're undeveloped. They're just children. That's what it seems like. They seem like children. They don't seem like adults that have managed to make it to adulthood. Because even people that think a little bit differently. I mean, for myself, I'm very likely autistic. But people learn as they grow and as they age. They learn to blend in with society and to mask per se, and to be, I don't know, I guess a little bit more restrained in a way. Now, of course, each one of these individuals is very broken, but the way they act, considering that they were super villains that are kind of getting changed, except for one of them, Demoness, she was utterly isolated, but for the rest of them as super villains at one point or another, they were interacting with bad people, tough people, rough people, very bad people. So you would think a lot of that childishness would be held in, and they would have learned to at least act a little bit more adult. But it really doesn't detract all that much from the book, because unlike a lot of books, this is not so much, even though there's a lot of characters in it, to me, this is not so much a character-driven book, it's a plot-driven book. I really find it fascinating. I find the world that he has built to be absolutely fascinating. And these little threads that he has thrown in there are interesting to me, and again, utterly fascinating, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he resolves and answers all these threads, and I seriously doubt it's going to be all answered in the next book. He's really laying a lot of groundwork, and again, this is a very interesting world. It's a really fleshed out, really cool world that he is building, and some of the side characters are also getting very interesting. So, after you guys hit the like and subscribe button, go check out Saving Supervillains 3. It's absolutely fantastic. It's by amazing author. All of his books are really good. Otherwise, thank you everybody for watching. We will catch you next time. Bye now.